I used to be the most inconsistent person when it came to the gym, and if you're new here and you don't know my full story, hi, my name is Alaias.Fit, and I used to weigh over 200 plus pounds, and then I decided to go on a 70-pound fat loss journey. This journey allowed me to go to Michigan State, where I was a D1 athlete, and now I have the honor and privilege to speak to you besties every single week. But before Michigan State, before I dived into sports, before I went on my 70-pound fat loss journey, I couldn't stick to a workout routine to save my life. And the top excuses I would always say to myself is I'm too busy, I'm too tired, and I don't know what to do when I get to the gym. So if you feel like you struggle with being consistent and you want to learn how to start working out, this is the video for you. As always on my channel, we're going to keep it real, honest, and transparent. So if you can't handle the heat, I'm going to need you to get out of the kitchen. But let's jump right into it because I have a lot to say. The first thing that helped me be consistent was shifting from externally motivated to being internally motivated. External motivations are anything that are outside forces. For instance, getting a lot of compliments or social media influences, or you want to win a reward. Winning and competitiveness or external motivation isn't per se bad, but I think internal motivation is more important. That's feeling stronger. It's feeling more confident. It's feeling better in your skin. Having higher energy levels are all examples of internal motivation. And oftentimes we'll hear people say, have a strong why, have a strong why, have a strong why. But I don't think we do a good job of explaining why we should have a strong why. And to me, being internally motivated is having a strong why. It's doing it because you want to feel confident. It's doing it because you want to have higher energy levels. It's not doing it because you want to have a BBL looking body, which isn't per se bad. Like that, all of us are going to be externally motivated to some degree, but when you start working out because you just want to feel good in your skin, you're more likely to stick to it because you're not doing it for other people. You're doing it for you. Internal motivation is going to go deeper into who you are, which is going to allow you to have more satisfaction when you show up. For instance, anyone can give you a compliment, but if you don't feel good about yourself, you could get all the compliments in the world and those compliments don't make a difference. It's when you start feeling good about yourself, which is what's really going to make a difference. And something else I want to call out too is even in the past, I have said you just have to enjoy working out. You just have to enjoy working out and you'll be consistent. And honestly, what I failed to call out within that is when you're just starting out with your workouts, there's a reset period, as in your body is being shocked because you are doing something new. Let's say you've taken 6 months off or even a year off of working out. When you first start working out, your body is going to reject it and it's going to suck. You might feel nauseous. You might feel really sore after. You might start being really, really hungry. Your body is going through all of these changes that can be really difficult to navigate within everything else that you're balancing in life. For instance, I had an uncle who had new liver, and when he had the new liver implanted, he was like, I'm in more pain now than I was before with my bad liver. And when things like this happen, we'll oftentimes want to revert back. He literally was like, I'd rather go back to the liver I had before because this is not fun for me. But reverting back is not going to allow your new body to grow and heal in the way that it's needed. So why am I saying all this? I'm saying because when you first start your workout journey, in the beginning, it may suck for the first 60 to 90 days. But after you get past that point, you're going to push yourself past where now your body is used to it and you can get really good endorphin highs. You can get a runner's high, which is when you start running after about a mile and you're truly enjoying the workout and the movement. But in the beginning, it may not feel like that. But once you push through, it's going to feel so much better. Follow your plan, not your mood. Your mood is going to change faster than your underwear, okay? Whenever I'm creating a video, I will brainstorm the idea a week in advance. I have the title. I'm like, oh, I'm going to talk about all this. I'm typically so hype when I'm baking out and creating the video ideas. And then for some reason, every time I go to film, I'm like, ugh. I gotta set up the camera. I gotta get these lights. I gotta do my makeup. It becomes a lot of work. And the same thing happens with our fitness journeys. But I don't follow how I'm feeling in the time. I follow the discipline and the plan that I set in place. Don't follow your mood. Your mood is gonna lead you to stray. And something that I feel like our generation is really known for doing, I will call myself out, okay, that Gen Z generation is we're be your authentic self. Just be authentic. Okay, but what we don't say in and being authentic is this follow your whatever you want to do, whatever your feelings lead you to do, whatever you just want to say out of your mouth is okay. That's not true. Being authentically yourself and still showing up and being disciplined can be two things that are true. Just because you want to call somebody out doesn't necessarily mean you should do it. Just because you want to skip a workout doesn't necessarily mean you should do it. You should follow what you set in place to do, not how your feelings in that moment are leading you. Nothing kills dreams and progress more than impatience. For instance, for a woman to put on 1 pound of muscle, it takes her about 4 to 6 weeks of consistent training and proper nutrition. For that same woman to put on a pound of fat, all she has to do is eat 500 calories more for about a week than her body burns. And let's be real, 500 calories is not a lot of calories, okay? Like, it is so much easier to put on fat than it is to put on good weight, which is exactly why so many of us give up in the beginning, because we feel like we're pushing hard for 2 to 3 weeks. Sometimes it's even just a week. Like, we're giving it all we got, and we step on the scale and we're like, oh my God, like, I don't see any progress. You look in the mirror and you're like, I don't see any changes. It's because to actually see the results, it's going to take you a solid 4 to 6 weeks, which I'm going to get into this in a later point, but which is why the program that you follow is so important, because a lot of these short-lived programs that a lot of us follow don't allow your body enough time to see real results, because it takes time to put on muscle. It's easy to put on fat. Gratitude breeds consistency. I saw a guy on TikTok the other day that said the regular is remarkable. And it's so true. I think one of the best decisions I've ever done in my life was start a gratitude journal, especially when I was trying to be consistent, because sometimes when we're chasing after what we want, it's so easy to forget what we have. It's so easy to lose sight of the money that's coming into your bank account every single week that's allowing you to pay for a gym membership. It's so easy to take for granted your health and your well-being, the fact that you actually can move your body, the fact that you actually can get up and cook. And when I actually started being more grateful for where my body was in that current state, of course, thinking about where do I want to go, but appreciating what I had, it allowed me to be more consistent because I was more grateful for those opportunities. Like when I stood up and went to the gym, I was like, I don't have to be here, but I get to. And I'm so grateful that I get to, because I didn't have to wake up today. God didn't have to spare me another breath, another day to breathe, but he did. And I don't want to take that for granted. I wish my younger self could hear this tip so much, and that is food is not the enemy. To stay consistent in our working out, we have to be consistent with what we're eating. And one thing that helped me be consistent is knowing what time I was going to be eating every single day. So it was kind of like I knew when my next meal was going to be, especially if you are trying to increase your protein or decrease processed foods. Knowing when your next meal is so beneficial to help you, so that you're not just sitting here like playing this game of, oh my God, now I'm hungry and now I'm going to reach for something bad. And I didn't want to reach for something bad, but I'm just doing it because I'm hungry now. If you know in advance, okay, at 12, I'm going to eat, which means I need to start cooking at 11:30. At 11:30, I'm going to start making the chicken. Like, it just makes it a little bit more of an easier process for you to be one step ahead. In addition to that, knowing what foods are healthy and what foods you may just want to avoid most of the time. So always ensuring that our meals are balanced with healthy fats, proteins, fibrous carbohydrates. That's those deep green leafy things, ensuring that we have multiple colors going on so that we're getting a lot of balance from vitamins and minerals. But one food item that I started adding into my weekly routine to help me increase my veggie intake is grunes. Why I love grunes is that they're made with high quality natural ingredients, and not every brand can say that. And purchasing a package of grunes, you're going to get all of these little multivitamin packs. One pack is what you take in one single day. And if you open up a pack, you're going to get 8 different gummies. So let me open it up, show you guys what's inside. So I take one of these every single day, and this one pack has over 20 different vitamins and over 60 whole ingredients. And typically, you guys know, you'll have like a stack of all of these different vitamins that you need to take in one day. But with grunes, you literally get everything that you need within one pack. and all of the vitamins and minerals are listed out here on the back so that you can see they're full of natural ingredients. By increasing this into my daily routine, it's been helping me not only from a gut health standpoint, but also with cognitive benefits, which is all the stuff within the brain, and also helping with like nail growth, hair growth, skin growth. So you're truly getting everything in one, all within this one multivitamin. Grunes is more bioavailable, meaning the ability of grunes to be absorbed and used by the body is greater, which can help you achieve your target nutrient levels. With only 3 grams of added sugar per serving, or you can get the sugar-free option, which is exactly what I did. Grunes is nut-free, dairy-free, gluten-free, and vegan, and you can get 45% off by checking out the link in my description below. So thank you so much, Grunes, for sponsoring this video, and make sure you guys check these out because it tastes so good. The last thing I want to mention about food is to find your staple recipes. If you're having an extremely busy week, knowing your staples is going to save you so much time in the grocery store, when you're meal prepping, or if you meal prep, and then when cooking, because you know exactly what ingredients you need to buy and exactly how long it's going to take you to prep and cook. So for instance, oatmeal and avocado toast are 2 examples of staple breakfast items that I always know if I'm rushing or if I'm late, I can quickly make those, and I typically have the ingredients for them. Knowing this is just going to make it so much easier for you over time to stay consistent with eating right. My next tip is to think like a reaper. Okay, y'all, I'm dating a country boy now, and he has me learning all of these new country terminologies, so bear with me, but I learned the word reaper the other day, and it's pretty much someone who's like harvesting the crops. And the reason I want us to think like a reaper is because they sow knowing that they're not going to see the fruits of the seeds that they're sowing for a couple of months. And I think when it comes to our fitness and health journey, we have to think the same exact way. If you can't relate to a reaper, think like a businessman, think like a businesswoman, think like an entrepreneur, think like an investor, think like an athlete. All of these groups of people are thinking and working not in the short term, but they're thinking about the long term. And the more you stop allowing your feelings to drive, because feelings are going to come, but they don't come first. And whenever your feelings are coming up and you want to make, let's say you've decided to go to the gym at 6 o'clock and now it's 5:30 and you're like, oh, I'm just really not feeling it. Being tempted and having that feeling isn't a bad thing. Like most people, whether you're a reaper, a business person, an athlete, they're all going to have those moments in time when it's time for them to sow. But the key is not allowing your feelings in the driver's seat. You still make the decision to think in the long term and act, not based off of your feelings, but based off of what you are looking to get in the long term. If someone is planting seeds, can you tell I know a lot about farming? If somebody is planting seeds and they plant this in August, they know that they're not going to see that thing sprout up next week, but they're not planting it for August. They're planting it for October and November. I actually don't know how long like a cucumber grows for, so bear with me here. But my point is, when it comes to working out, a lot of us will get so frustrated when we look in the mirror and we don't see results after a week. But as we talked about earlier with how long it takes to grow muscle, it's going to take time for your progress to show, but it doesn't mean what you're doing is bad. You just got to stick with it. The more you go to the gym, the more your gym anxiety is going to go away. I had the most gym anxiety when I was the most inconsistent, but when I started sticking to a routine, deciding when I was going to go to the gym is when I started feeling more comfortable every single time. Something else you could do if you struggle with gym anxiety really badly is go when it's not super popular. So like after 5 o'clock, like those corporate working hours, everybody and their mama is in the gym. So like if you can go during your lunch break or first thing in the morning, a Friday morning or like a Sunday afternoon, no one is in the gym. Like those are my favorite hours to go because I could touch all the equipment that I want. So if you truly struggle with gym anxiety, my advice to you is to keep showing up and being consistent, because the more I was consistent with it, the more I kept showing up and going, was the more I felt more comfortable being there. And then I also would go when nobody was there, and that would help me. Or you can even take like a gym buddy or a friend, and that way you have somebody to bounce ideas off of or like to talk to, so you don't feel awkward in between sets. Follow a program. I was speaking with a friend and she was telling me how she's been in the gym for over a year and a half trying to grow her glutes and she doesn't feel like she's seeing any progress. And I told her there's likely two things that are happening. You're not following a consistent program or you're not eating enough protein. And she told me immediately it was the program. She told me her workout routine for a month, and I'm not kidding. I don't think she did one similar exercise for that same month. When you follow a really great program, your workouts and your movements aren't going to change every single time you go to the gym. A squat is a squat. A deadlift is a deadlift, and you're going to do those movements consistently over time when you're following a good program. How do you know if a program is setting you up for success? You know you're following a great program when it has a consistent build that all is revolved around strength training, but you see endurance, strength, and hypertrophy. Endurance means your reps are going to be anywhere from like 16 to 12 reps. And then your strength is going to be anywhere from about 11 to 8 reps. Anything below 8 reps is really focused on strength. Over time, you should see your program hit within all 3 of those categories and have a consistent build in the way that they're training. Most people start with high endurance reps, and then over time, by the end of the program, you're really focused on that hypertrophy and strength. In addition to that, the program should also have balance movements, power and explosive movements, stretching and posture alignment, and of course also like your typical lifts like a squat, a deadlift, etc., because those are key to building strength. In addition to that, if your program has a balance of all of those things within one, then you know it's likely a really strong program. If your program has you doing different movements every week, one week you're doing a squat and then you don't see a squat for another 4 weeks, those inconsistencies should tell you that there is something wrong and you might want to have another certified personal trainer take a look at the program. Follow genuine fitness inspiration. I just made a post the other day that has over like 300K views on YouTube Shorts, and it's because in this video I'm talking about how much I admire Olympic women athletes. Like, they popped off in the Olympics this past year and it made me so excited and hype and proud to watch them, because these are real women working real hard and they're not obsessing over a thigh gap. They're not obsessing over a BBL, okay? They're taking rest days. They're eating carbs and they're showing up every single day, not focused on the short term, but focused on a process. And while I know Olympic athletes have crazy busy schedules and there's a lot of ways that, like, as a person like myself, I can't really compare my schedule or life to them. My point is, when watching them, they're eating to fuel their bodies, including carbs. They're focusing on performance, not appearance. They could care less about like the actual looks and aesthetics of their body. Like, their body is helping them perform, not necessarily them being models, even though a lot of them be looking like models, okay? They be looking snatched and I'm here for it. They practice consistency over perfection. They listen to their bodies. They embrace mental toughness by committing to the process. And this is why I always say, train like an athlete. And it's not just within your workouts, because yeah, if you train like an athlete, you will definitely start looking like an athlete, but it's in the mindset. It's in the way that they approach their movements. They're approaching it with a seriousness. They're approaching it with a level of discipline, and they're approaching it knowing that I'm here not just for like my physical appearance. Sometimes my biggest pet peeve with fitness and health is that so many of us, including myself back in the day, okay, this was me, we obsess over what we look like. And while what we look like is important, you caring more about how much you're going to get out of this workout and you focusing on muscle connection and time-body connection while you're doing your movements, you are going to get so much out of your workout more than you focused on trying to get a thigh gap. You know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is you're going to go so much farther by loving who you are and working hard. And this also goes to say that if there's anybody you're following who doesn't give you inspiration, they actually make you feel really jealous or evoke negative emotions in you, unfollow them. And that includes myself. Like, I really hope and pray that everything I put out helps and inspires and motivates you. But I give you full permission that if I'm not showing up and helping you in the way that I need, please unfollow me, because then I'm not doing my job as a creator. And the same goes for everybody else on your page. That unfollow button works just as well as that follow button, okay? And This also goes to show who you spend time with. If you want to be consistent, hang out with people who are consistent in the gym. If you want to be consistent in eating well, hang out with people who are grocery shopping on the weekends or meal prepping, and you can go to your girl's house and meal prep with her. Surround yourself with the people that you want to be like. They should motivate you. They should inspire you. They should not always just be trying to take from you. Step on the scale max 1 time a week. 1 time a week. That scale is a lie. You guys have heard me say this before. A DEXA scan, in my opinion, is the top way that you should be doing a diagnosis of your body every 6 months. You should only get a DEXA scan twice a year. And that's going to tell you your full body composition. It's going to tell you how much bone density you have, how much fat you have, how much muscle you have. And that is more critical than you stepping on a scale and seeing 150 pounds and you're not sure how much of that is muscle and how much of that is fat. So don't overcomplicate and don't step on the scale every single week when you're trying to be consistent, because a lot of times it just puts most of us in a really bad headspace and it doesn't motivate us to be consistent. If you're able to be consistent with the scale and you can step on it as much as you want and it doesn't bother you, then go right ahead. But myself back in the day, I couldn't do it. Okay. I couldn't do it. I was weak in the knees. Speaking of the scale, weight gain is not bad. For instance, if you've started your journey and you've now decreased your fat, but you've put on muscle and it's been 8 to 12 weeks, you may weigh more, because muscle weighs more than fat. So that's another reason why stepping on the scale just doesn't give you the full picture, and it's better for you to do a full scan of your body so you can really know what's going on. Lay out your clothes the day before, especially if you have a morning workout or a full day planned. I always try to lay out my clothes so I know exactly what I'm wearing to the gym. And then when I see it, it reminds me, all right, girl, you got to get yourself in the gym today. Place your motivation as your background screen so you can literally take a picture of your workouts for the week in your notes and put it as your iPhone screen. I highly recommend that because we check our phones over 125 times a day. So 125 times a day, you could be reminding yourself of what you're trying to be consistent in. Schedule health and fitness into your routine. Schedule when you're going to be working out. Schedule when you're going grocery shopping. Schedule when you're cooking your meals and meal prepping. Because a lot of times we say we want to be consistent in something, but we don't have enough time in our days to even be consistent. And so let's say you want to start going to the gym 3 to 4 times a week. What are 3 things you can cut from your schedule then? And I know that seems like a harsh reality because so many of us are obsessed with having a busy schedule. I am not. Okay. I'm trying to take things off my schedule and off my plate as much as possible so that I can have time within my day to think and process and show up for the things that I need to show up for. And we have to look at our health and fitness as the same thing. If you start dating someone, that's a time commitment. You are now committing yourself to dates weekly, and that time is going to come from somewhere. And so just as you schedule time for work, or you schedule time to see your friends, or you schedule time to hang out with your mans or your girl, you got to schedule time to show up for you, which is being consistent in the gym. When is that time? Write it out on your calendar, write it out in your phone. And if you want to take it another step up than that, send it to a friend. Send it to someone you look up to, because when you tell someone that you respect about the goals that you're going after, it's going to hold you more accountable, because we'll let ourselves down. Okay. But you won't let somebody that you trust and admire down. You would not do that. I don't know who this is for, but I feel it deep in my soul to say this. The timing is never going to be right. Ever. I struggle really badly some days with panic attacks. And it's funny, of the topic we were just talking about, moving things out of your daily to-dos. And I had to start doing that, because nothing I tell you guys, by the way, have I not had to have this lesson in my life. I've gone through all of this so many times. It's just why I be up here y'all, learn from me. But I truly struggle with panic attacks because I will have such overloaded schedules that some mornings I will look at my day and almost feel like I can't move. I feel like my body is on pause. And a lot of times I'll just become really emotional and I'll start breaking down and crying. And my boyfriend, Nick, is so loving and so sweet. And he will always grab my hand and look at me and say, just take it one step forward at a time. What's one thing that we can do right now? And it helps me so much in those times when I'm feeling paralyzed, because say, for instance, you have 20 things you need to do on your list for that day versus thinking about yesterday. versus thinking about tomorrow, think about that very first thing. And typically I try to put my top priorities as the first thing in the day and just do that. And then after you do the first thing, then try to knock off the second thing and then focus all of your attention on that second thing. And then you just keep going through that list. And by the end of the day, you look up and you realize, wow, I actually was able to accomplish everything I had on this list. And what I'm explaining to you, even though right now I'm sharing it in terms of more of like a lifestyle aspect, it works the same way with health and fitness. Because say, for instance, you have your workout. You may not want to think about your workout until it's actually time to go at whatever time you decide. And a lot of times I like to place my workout first thing in the morning because it helps me stay consistent. Because if I wait, I'm not going to do it. Okay. And when it's finally time to show up, just take it one step at a time. Just drive to the gym. After you drive to the gym, just think about stepping up on that treadmill. After you step up on that treadmill, think about one exercise, then one rep at a time, and don't take it any step further. And then you're going to look up and be like, dang, I really did that full workout. And it's like, yeah, you did. But when we overwhelm ourselves in the beginning by all the things that we have to do, that's typically when we feel paralyzed and like we can't move forward. But I promise you can. You just have to focus in on that one thing you need to do right in that moment. Your body's going to change. Your lifestyle's going to change. Who I was when I started my fitness journey and who I am today looks so entirely different. You may have no kids right now and watching this video with your feet kicked up, chilling on the couch. But 5 years from now, you may have a child or multiple kids. You may have a husband or a wife or a spouse. And now you have all of these different obligations that you need to attend to. And I don't say this to scare you, but I just say this that just because our lifestyle changes and our bodies are going to change means that now our fitness and health routines need to change. And that's okay. Health should be additive to your life. It should not be your whole life, in my opinion. It's one aspect of it. And so just because it's one aspect doesn't mean it needs to dominate and take so much control and mind space that we now can't focus on the other things that we need to do in our lives. No, we should. And it's just having this knowing and acknowledgement that things are going to change over time and your body may change. And just because change happened doesn't mean it's bad. It just means now we need to figure out how can I now show up and be consistent in the season that I'm at. When it comes to being consistent, there's two really big categories that I grouped all of these habits in that I shared with you guys: mindset tips and practical habit tips. And the mindset tips outnumber the habit tips by so much, because when you're able to get disciplined and focused, it's going to make it so much easier for you to show up consistently. And I think the biggest thing that I can tell you is just to take it one step at a time and don't wait to start. Start now. Drive yourself towards action, because a lot of us, we going to be lazy and chill all we want. But until we make a harsh deadline for us to hit, that's going to provoke our bodies to change, because a lot of times nothing will change unless we force ourselves to. I love you guys so much, and I really hope this video helped you. Let me know down below if you have any questions or anything that I can answer. I try to respond to all of my comments because I truly love you guys, and I'm here to support you and help you in any way that you need. Bye, besties.